What's up, guys? It's GSL Code S with Aceless and Artosis Tastosis. We are in the round of 16 today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really well, Tasteless. How are you doing today?
It's too cold.
It's too cold.
It's too cold.
The record low temperature ever on Earth has been reached today in Seoul.
This is like
Antarctica, eat your heart out. We have destroyed you
take
here.
That, Planet Hoth.
Today it proves why Korea is the best esports nation.
Yes.
Sweden thinks they get cold. They aren't here
not.
right now. It is so cold here.
This is why people play a lot of video games down here. It is. I lost my gloves a week ago, and I got long arms. Okay, so I know to put my hands in my pockets, but still, this part of my wrist here is exposed.
You got to wear a wristwatch, Tasteless.
I need. I want on each arm is what I need.
Yeah.
I'll be that guy.
I ask you what time it is. You
this
just punch you with two hands.
In Seoul. This one's the time in Tokyo.
Look, thanks.
And can't just add an hour. So we got 3 Terrans and a Zerg today.
And it's going to be an insane group, Tasteless. But before we talk about that, I just want to say I've been playing Heart of the Swarm. Oh my God, it's so much fun.
I'm going to start it up after, not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow, man.
Let's play some
We both
games.
took a little break because they were changing so much. We're like, wow.
Keep up our wings and stuff. But,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, it's fun. It's fun.
Well, they've made so many crazy changes now.
I would love to be one of the first games against you when you're trying to test out new things. I'm just going to fly an Oracle into your base and turn it on.
We're going to play some games, man.
Yeah.
No, but like it's crazy. It's like a different RTS game now.
Yeah, it's definitely changed quite a few things.
Totally different.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be cool. Okay. And of course, speaking of which, this is the last Wings of Liberty. Tournament
also
ever.
Fun little fact. The Code A just started up. MVP and Genius both fell out into Code B.
Yeah.
And that means the only player who has never fallen from the beginning into Code B is Marine King. He's the last one left.
Which is so interesting because it makes him exactly right. Which be always second place, but never out.
Yeah.
Into Code B.
It's a good way to put it.
So here's what the round of 16 is going to look like. We have 2 weeks of this. Obviously today and tomorrow, and then Thursday and Friday next week.
Yep, and look at these groups. DRG, Tasia, Bomber, and Innovation, insanely stacked group. Then tomorrow, Squirtle, MKP, Symbol, and Sulky, another insanely stacked group. Then the day after that, MC, Gumiho, Curious, and Lucira. Whoa, and then Group D, Life, Boom Boom Parting, and Roro. Tasteless, these groups are more imbalanced than the Widowmine.
I'm excited a lot about Group B. That's a tough one to call.
Group D?
Group B.
Yeah, Group B too, man.
Yeah.
Group D as well, and Group C's up there, and
Group A is pretty scary.
No,
as well.
these are like insanely hard to guess which top two. I don't even know how to do it. I'm like, well, that group looks perfect for MC to be able to get out of, but those other 3 are still so scary. And I mean, Life and Party in the same group, that's pretty crazy, but Boom Boom has been looking so good, as has Roro. I don't even know what to do about this.
It's crazy, man.
I think the groups are too good.
I'm really wondering.
I think that we should actually jobber this up a little bit and bring some Code B guys in and mix them into this because
it's going to be crazy, too, because when Heart of the Swarm's out, I'm really curious who's going to stay on top in Code S. It's going to be a different RTS game. It might require different skill sets.
Yeah, and all these guys are playing some HOTS. Everyone has started
some
playing
more than others.
Some. Yeah, the guys still in GSL Code S, not playing as much.
Playing Wings of Liberty. The guys that are out, they're going to be playing more HOTS. As you can see, racial distribution. We thinned out a lot of the Zergs and the Terrans.
Yeah. And not so many of the Protoss, only thinned out 2 of those.
5 to 3.
Yeah, that's only 40%.
No, it's going to be interesting to see if we have all 3 Protosses advance. Round of 16.
I have a feeling we won't have all 3, but I could see 2 getting through. Groups are just too stacked.
It's going to be tough. All right, so for today's match, we're going to start with DRG, DongRaeGu, up against Bomber, and then after that, Tasia and Innovation. Once those 2 games are done, we'll go obviously to winner's match, loser's match, and the final match, the loser versus the winner. Yeah. And that's going to be It's gonna be interesting. What are your predictions for the first two?
Well, here's the thing. Like, Bomber is finally looking like we knew he could in his stage games as opposed to just practice games.
Yep.
So he's so dangerous. DRG is actually on fire. He's in top form. He got second in Iron Squid when he very well could have won that.
Sure.
And he's just been crushing his way through this GSL. And then, of course, you have Innovation, who's looking so good. Tasia looking so good. It's an impossible group to guess, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say DRG Innovation.
DRG and Bomber now going to their respective booths. And we are moments away from getting this going.
Pretty crazy, man.
You know, both these guys so skilled.
Oh, yeah.
And so legendary, in fact. Some of these guys, even Innovation, he's kind of new to the scene. But a lot of history here at GSL with these two players. DRG, easily one of the scariest Zergs of all time. I'm curious to see how far he's going to go. I could see him going to round of 8 no matter what. I'm more interested in seeing if he can get to round of 4.
I agree with you. I have to echo your sentiment there, man. Like, I want to see, can you make it to the round of 4, DRG? Because he's in such good shape. You can't actually say he used to be better than he is now. Even though he was like winning everything for 2 months.
He bounced back because he kind of sank off a little bit from where he was. He was never off the map, but
yeah, and that's
now he's back. And you know, the same is true for Bomber as well.
That's right. But Bomber fell a little bit lower, never reached the peaks of DRG, but tell me he isn't looking godly right now. The thing is, even though he has some great wins, like look at that 2-0 versus Sniper. Yeah, he did 2-0 Sniper, but Sniper kind of had him too. So I'm not, even though Bomber's playing amazingly, and he definitely could come out of this group and go pretty far this season.
Sure.
I don't want to say he could win the whole thing, but he definitely can get very far. It's just, I feel like DRG is playing like his best play, whereas Bomber is his best play at that level. He hasn't been a champion of anything really but, what, an MLG? Yeah, so I don't know. It's not the same as someone who's won GSL, multiple foreign events, and second place in OSL.
Our map is going to be Akalon Flats, one of our newest maps here at the GSL. Again, DRG against Bomber, a Zerg versus Terran. Our only Zerg against 3 Terrans in this group. Now that does put DRG in sort of a unique training advantage since he only has 1 matchup he has to prepare for, whereas the rest of the Terrans have 2, a TBT and a TVZ. But at the same time, he's going to have very diverse ZVT because all the Terrans are going to be watching him. You know, he may play up to 3 best of 3s today, which means he's going to have a lot of variety in his play style as well.
Yeah. That's a very good point, Tasteless. But DRG doesn't normally have too much variety overall. He's very much into Ling, Bane, Muta. You know, a lot of that.
He loves that heavy layer tech.
He
Staying
does.
on layer, stalling, and maxing on that. All right, looks like it's time, so get ready for the first game between these two epic players, DRG against Bomber here in the round of 16 at the GSL. And there goes the momentum.
Yep.
All right. So we had a pause over here, and clearly it's going to be some kind of setting issue or something.
Yeah.
Which will probably be resolved momentarily. Oh, is this one of the things where you hit Control S again? Like
could be.
This is a common thing. You can hit Control S to stop sound, but you know when the adrenaline's going, a lot of times these guys will accidentally turn off sound and then not realize they just shut it off with a hotkey.
It totally can happen. It's sound problems are normally the biggest issue for pauses.
Yeah, at least in GSL.
Yeah. You know, there's all sorts of silly things that can go wrong with your sound. Okay, looks like he's got it fixed. We should be going right back in now.
All right, so let's bring the hype again.
All right.
Going into game number 1 here. In the round of 16, it's going to be DRG against Bomber. And we are back. So in the upper left, we have our only Zerg, a champion of the GSL Code S here, eager to do it again. He is
MVP DongRaeGu.
And in the bottom right, the only other starting location on this map, we have a macro beast. Right now, better than he's ever been before. He is
Bomber.
All right, so if these two go into their own standard macro games, watch this sick prediction, Tasteless.
I'm ready.
If they go into one of their own standard macro games, macro versus macro. Yep.
Sorry, stick sander macro games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sticks and sands may break my bones, Stasis, but names will never hurt me. Anyways, if they go into that, I think it will 100% come down to the first time all the banelings come. I think it'll completely come down to that where either DRG connects well enough or Bomber makes it so he does not connect well enough, and that will determine, of course there's all sorts of little pressures and rushes and things that these guys could mix in. They don't as much, but they could, and that would of course change it. But other than that, I feel like these two are kind of predictable in their macro games and the way that they turn out. So that's what I'll be waiting for.
I'm really curious about when Bomber starts to push. He's one of the only Terrans that still parade pushes.
Yeah.
Really? I can't think of anybody unless you can. Nobody really comes to mind. Like since SC is not, is really in the competitive scene this year.
No, he's a lawler now.
Yeah. If he was a candy, it'd be a lollipop.
Yeah. But yeah, I totally know what you mean. In fact, Bomber's play, and for those of you who don't know, the parade push is like you just push after push after push, rallying units across.
It almost looks like it's just a streamline of units.
And the thing is, some people do it in different ways. There's ones where you do a push and it dies, and you do another push and it dies, but the thing is you're whittling down Zerg the whole way. And some people just do a rally non-stop and whatnot. And Bomber's kind of like, his macro's so good, it's so ridiculously good that he just always has more units, so...
Absolutely. Yeah. It's going to be cool because I think when Bomber gets to that point in time where he can really parade push hard, we're also going to probably see DRG finally trying to switch into high tech.
Yeah.
And that might be what costs DRG the game here.
It definitely could be. Now, this map, TVZ, there was actually like this amazing game from Stefano when we were on an airplane, Tasteless. That just him against Innovation on this map was pretty fantastic. He kind of used that very heavy Ling Bane Muta for a little bit, and the creep spread was immaculate. Now, I think that's exactly what we're going to see DRG try out for the opening. Get his creep spread down there. Wouldn't be surprised to see Ultras before Broodlords.
That is more popular now.
Yeah, and this map kind of is good for that. And the fact that Sniper's been doing it so much, they are teammates, and they're very similar play styles.
I think a lot of this has to do with the maps that started to change. For instance, Whirlwind, for instance. That's not a Broodlord map. Maybe for defensive Broodlords, but you're not really going to be in great shape to push across the map. With your 8 or 6 Broodlords that try to take out their base. They can go around you, they can counter you, they can drop you, they can cut off reinforcements and take you out.
Now, notice here, not surprised at any of this, we see Bomber going for a third command center. It's very rare against Zerg that he doesn't throw down a very quick third command. As far as DRG goes, he's going up to 5 queens because he does want to get that creep spread really far out there. It's very, very important, more so important for this style than probably any other, really. When you want to go Ling Bane Muta, you need a huge creep spread with that nowadays. It used to not be that Zergs would focus on that, but nowadays you need that to be able to actually close around the Terran army and crush it.
Well, that, it gives you that vision that a lot of times when they push out with that Viking, which is still popular to this day, I wouldn't say it's as popular on 3 command centers, but getting that Viking out and just driving away all of the overlords, you get that creep out there and you can see everything. And of course, you can move faster on it. Totally. Et cetera, et cetera.
No, it's a very important aspect. Now, we did see, as Legend showed us, on this map, those middle watchtowers do disappear after 7 minutes.
Yep.
So, I like that. I really like that people are starting to do that because those watchtowers are just so powerful. They probably should disappear after 7 minutes,
Well, another thing is that it's nice to see that there are maps with different properties on them. where it's not just, well, are there watchtowers or they're not watchtowers,
Yeah.
and what role do they play? It's like, well, no, there are watchtowers, and they operate differently than other watchtowers on this on other maps.
Yeah.
And therefore, you got to play and open differently and scout differently.
Well, we do have the Overlord peeking in here. He's going to see
sees
it.
everything he needs to see.
Yeah, there's not going to be any sort of Hellion play. And just from what he's seen, DRG already knows that this is just going to be Marine Stim and a Medivacs. And that's going to be the first pressure that Bomber puts on.
2 more E-bays now put down here. They will, for the rest of the game, be slightly behind the Zerg's upgrades, unless there's a hiccup in the Zerg's tech. Which there might be, because DRG does go for Hive really late quite often. But
yeah, there's a very good chance. I think you're right that Bomber will probably go towards 3-3 before DRG.
Yeah.
But as far as 2-2,
at least for the early game, mid-game here, DRG should have a lead for at least most of it.
Well, we do have Bomber moving out across the map. Now, the creep spread's pretty good. He's going to want to remove as much as possible, especially these live tumors. Oh, beautiful scan there. And that's going to take out quite a bit of the creep. But there's a big counterattack with these Zerglings down in the natural base. A lot of these Marines going to be taking out some SCVs as well.
No
and this
walling
is
over
super
here.
effective.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of damage to these SCVs. Continue to do so, but it doesn't look like Bomber's done just yet. We have Bailings morphing in right now. Transfusion here on the Spine Crawler. Spine Crawler now taking out Zerglings, continuing to do some damage down here. And the Bailings are about to finish.
We do have these Marines getting picked up now, and with those Queens, he's going to be very careful if he wants to re-land those. Now, the Zerglings actually have killed so much. He's killed 26 SCVs. 26.
Now, when you think about what a Zergling counterattack is supposed to do, that's a lot more
yeah.
than you'd bank on.
That's just SCVs. You got a lot of Marines.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy. And nope, not one at a time.
Man.
This could not get worse. He might even snipe the tank too, which would also be really good. Mule
Yeah.
goes down. Looks like another mule's going to go down.
At this point, you can kill just about anything, and it's so worthwhile. DRG has taken a pretty substantial lead here, really.
He's going to need to repair that tank. Oh my God, there's still one link still doing damage. Now pushing forward, hitting these Queens. I know the Queens are targeting down. I don't know if this game's going to go on for much longer, dude.
No, man. Well, this is what we were talking about before. DRG is looking the best he's ever looked. He's just so good right now.
You know what's funny about it is that this is probably the best way to beat Bomber, is to not let him build up the massive army that he's known to win with.
Exactly, and you know what? It is not going to hit a standard macro game. There's nothing about standard macro to this anymore for Bomber, because he did lose so many SCVs in that counterattack and didn't deal nearly enough damage with his first push nor his second push. So right here, DRG, he's going to get his Spire out. He's going to have Baneling speed and Burrow, and I mean, he can just start taking bases, because there's nothing Bomber can do right now.
I really don't know if DRG plays this correctly, if it's physically possible for Bomber to recover.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a lot more damage than I'm ever used to seeing Bomber receive early on.
It feels terrible to say something like that, but with DRG in his current form, with his skill that we know that he has, how does he mess it up from here? Because from here, Bomber can't even really do. I'm trying to think of like a risk he could do. There's a few, like he can make additional command centers, stuff like that.
He could do that like 3-base, or I guess now he's going to be 4-base, but that layer timing, he's got just like so many Banelings that there's almost nothing you can do, and then try to go in there. Maybe that would fail, but I don't know.
Right? I mean, Bomber has to wait for a huge mess up from DRG. Whereas if DRG plays like pretty standard, gets a healthy army, healthy economy, gets his creep spread everywhere, and techs up, I mean, how does Bomber stop that? He's down by 50 supply 13 minutes in.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that Zerg's going to be maxed out very, very soon. He does not need to make any more drones. In fact, the drone count is at, 81 to 63. So, yeah, he probably won't make any more drones unless drones are ticked off.
Yeah. Well, starting to do some harassment here with these Mutalisks, picking off anything you can. Some Lings running in.
And they will take out all these Marines here.
Yeah, and any trade like this is really good for DRG. Oh, look at that. I love it.
I love that we're seeing this more and more and more. Just burrowing when you know you're going to lose. All right, well, then waste a mule.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're ahead like this, you've already hurt their economy. They want to drop every single mule on minerals so that they can actually get their economy up to where it should be.
This is how you keep them down. By the way, the creep spread's insane.
Look at that row of creep tumors.
I know.
That's like craziness.
It's like where if there's just a handful of Marines in a scan, they might not be able to kill all that if there's links there too.
But you can't put creep tumors on creep tumors.
I know, right?
Make a creep tower. right, well, somehow these Lings are still alive. They come in and help out with that missile turret. You may want to go ahead and burrow them again. Yes, in fact, he does. He's kind of luring him for a scan here. And even if he doesn't, those Lings can be useful throughout the game for various things.
Yeah, I mean, he could even check and see what else is going on inside the base later on. And we got a lot. Now, here's what I was talking about. A lot of Banelings, Zerglians, and Mutas. He may just try to go in here and wipe the Terran out. Terran is at about 150 supply.
Yeah.
It looks like Zerg's attacking now.
Yeah, here we go. This could be an overwhelming attack coming up here. The Ling's actually getting way ahead on one side, and here we go. The Baneling's going up the ramp. You may want to bust through these bunkers.
Actually, he's doing a fantastic job sniping the siege tanks down here. I think that's actually it, man. Yeah, GG.
Well, I mean, Bomber has been playing fantastically, but DRG found this little hole in the wall and destroyed him because of it.
I was destroyed. Not exactly what I was expecting going into this game.
No.
It all goes back to that initial Ling attack where he got in there. Bomber did not return home to defend.
Yeah.
Instead, he said, all right, I'm going to try to do this. Deflected easily by DRG. He killed off 26 SCVs and a multitude of Marines.
Yeah.
And it was kind of end of story there.
It was a little bit sloppy of Bomber. He should have been a little bit more careful about his Wallen and had everything prepared for a Ling counterattack.
Sure, yeah.
But he didn't. So DRG got such a lead right there that he made Bomber look bad. So that is the way of things right now. If you give DRG an opening, you look bad. Even though you're not. Now,
interestingly, StarTale Bombers picked at Neo Planet S to be his map of choice.
The question is, does DRG go for some roach play? That 1-1 speed roach push that we see on this map so many times against Terran.
It seems like a lot of Zergs are very comfortable ending this game early on this map.
Yes, Yoda.
They're totally fine. Yes. All right, guys, it's time for game number 2. So get ready. Bomber up against DRG. DRG wins this, it goes on to the winners. If Bomber wins this, it goes to the rubber match for round 1 of GSL Code S.